Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, crypto nerds of all ages, guess what? This is Monty. I am your crypto nerd. And today, we have Pocket Properties. And you know my two passions, real estate and blockchain. Buckle up. This is going to be a very interesting conversation. Stay tuned after the break.
All right, what's up, guys? It's Lauren Wixom here, and like Monty said, we have Pocket Properties in the virtual studio today. What's up, guys? How are y'all doing today?
Doing great. How you doing?
Doing awesome, thank you. So I guess, I always like to start with introducing yourselves, and then why don't you tell us a little bit about how Pocket Properties came to be? So whoever wants to start.
Sure. I guess I'll kick it off there. So I'm Josh Ruffalo, CEO, co-founder of Pocket Properties. We got one of our other co-founders here today, Marshall, so our CFO. So I'll let him get to his intro here in a second. But really, Pocket Properties, we're just a company that's focused on innovation in real estate, technology and real estate. So how we got started is really all the co-founders. The idea for it came from that mutual love, like Monty even just said, of real estate, technology, really that integration and the possibilities. All of us either have experience in blockchain or real estate, and then we realized, wow, there's a huge opportunity here. And that's where I got involved, is really as a real estate investor, and really realizing there's massive barriers to entry, and maybe this new innovation of technology, blockchain, all of this could be a huge opportunity to really democratize and give opportunity. And I'll let Marshall take it from there.
No, definitely. Josh, you hit it right on the head, right? We wanted to make real estate investing easier. At some point or another, everyone started off, buying some Bitcoin or Ethereum, just like everyone. But after a while, I was like, what's behind all this? And then you really start to look into the technology and what are the actual real life, use cases besides just the currency aspect. And real estate made the most sense. I was actually in real estate at that time, doing a lot of residential work. And then COVID hit, and I was like, we gotta figure out something. And again, we actually all used to work together at one point too, about 3-4 years ago, maybe even longer than that.
Longer than that, five, almost 6 years ago.
About 6 years ago. Okay, my memory.
Time flies.
Yeah, it really does. And, the last couple of years, bringing the team together, having Josh just leading us through all this, it's been really great. Been really fun so far.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to ask about the name of the company, because a pocket listing in real estate is a listing that's sort of off market that not everybody knows about. Did the name come from that at all? Is it related, or if not, where did it come from?
Yeah, Marshall, you got to take that one. I think that was before my time.
Yeah. Part of what we wanted to do is have a name that was appealing, but also something that gave you a visual. And we thought of hey, I have a phone and I want to be able to invest. That's my daughter, by the way. I want to be able to invest. I want to be able to invest in real estate, just like we're able to invest into stocks through Robinhood, Webull, and things like that. So I literally have a pocket, and there's properties on there. Hey, let's call it Pocket Properties app. Super simple.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, hey, we want to make it great visual. It's like, hey, I have a. Someone made a joke. Actually, one of our followers. They were like, oh, I want to be able to flex to someone that, oh, you have your real estate portfolio. Check it out. I have my properties in my pocket. Pocket Properties. So definitely, fun way to start off.
There we go. Okay, so why don't you tell us why did you guys choose Algorand?
One of the things, obviously, you hear a lot of hype in the crypto, we'll call it the crypto space, with new projects coming up all the time, and they got this token, and now NFTs are big, and they have their own, ways to raise funds. And we really looked at it, and we were like, okay, what is the one thing that can really help us, make sure that we stand out. And one of the big focuses, and especially one of our other co-founders, the focus was on compliance, right? How do we make sure that not only are we compliant, but we're also what I considered forward compliant, where we're filing all our securities through the SEC. Algorand was actually one of the 7 tokens or cryptocurrencies that's been approved by the SEC and actually even the IMF to run what's called their ISO 20022. It has a lot of layer 1 features that really allow a lot of the securities aspect to work. And if the SEC is good enough for them, we really liked it. Obviously, the transaction speed, the transaction costs just being pennies, like literally pennies for huge transactions, is another thing. And overall, I think they're doing a lot of good, layer 1 work where they're able to not need other, layer 2 solutions to come in. So it was just a good fit overall. So,
and I would even say we saw that right up front, even launching our MVP last minute. A lot of people don't know this, but even just the ease of use and being able to just jump in real quick. Marshall even developed an NFT that we were able to launch, with and then accept Algorand last minute. So I would say, the compliance, anytime you deal with real estate and then anything with the blockchain, securitizing, anything tokenizing, the compliance side is huge. Algorand, that was our best bet. And then even just the ease of use and just, accessibility. It just makes it a lot of fun and just a good choice overall.
Excellent. Now, we obviously agree with you, right? We're rocking the Algorand, swag here, right? Yeah, we're all on board there. So
Yes.
there's a few other real estate type of endeavors on Algorand already. And the most popular being, I think, probably Lofty is probably the best known. There's also Vesta out there. There's a few others. Quantum RE is out there as well. But you guys are significantly different in a couple of key ways. And I want to make sure we highlight that because the market space is big enough for everybody by all means. But what you're doing is a little bit unique. Can you tell us how you're different from somebody like a Lofty, let's say? Because I think a lot of people are probably familiar with that model. Can you walk us through that?
Yeah. I guess I'll start and then I'll pass it to Marshall, mainly because he was instrumental in kind of some of the subtle differences that really make us unique. But really what I would say is the first aspect is Pocket Properties. We're not a real estate company. We're a technology company that's innovating in the real estate space. And so that's a huge difference, I think, to start off with. And then again, some of the things we offer are unique, and that's where I'll pass it to Marshall and let him kind of get into that a little bit.
No, for sure. So just like Josh said, we're not a real estate company. We focus on the tech part. We want to make, again, the access easier. And part of that comes with, just like Vesta and Lofty, a lot of these companies are kind of dealing on the equity side of space where they're like, hey, we'll tokenize the property, you'll get cash flow. And although that's great, and I love Lofty. I think they're a great project for Algorand, the ecosystem in general. But one of the things that we saw where there was a gap was, how do we get liquidity, right? How do we allow people to get in and out of a project without having to hold for long periods of time? The secondary market definitely comes into it. But one of the immediate, events, even in traditional real estate, is, hey, let's just do a debt part, right? I'm just a private lender on a project. I don't really care about what the profits are like. I just want my debt to be paid back. And we saw that as an easy, simple way. And it's funny because that's actually how I got started in real estate. Someone needed some money for an EMD, right? An earnest money deposit. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to make great money. There's going to be a quick turnaround. 30 days, I'll make 10% of my money. Yeah, this is great. Right. So providing that liquidity aspect, we really put a lot of emphasis on that. And then obviously the technology that goes behind it to make that happen. Right. That's where I think we really, really differ.
There's a few companies out there that are doing something like this, not on blockchain though. And this is more akin to like a DeFi play really than it is real estate. So it's more a finance type of an operation than truly like a real estate. It just happens to be surrounding a real estate project. So it's like
Yeah.
wrapping it, sort of, I think.
Right.
And now, were you always on that path? Did you have that in mind when you started? Did you take a few detours? How did you clarify your mission statement there?
Yeah, no, that's always the fun part of a startup, and that's why Marshall's laughing is where we started, and I think that's true of any founder group of founders. You always start with an idea and you go, oh, this will be so simple, and then you get into that project and you go, oh wow, there's regulations involved. And
yes.
so that's kind of where we started, was looking at it and going, okay, what we want to do is provide a platform where we can fully democratize real estate. So people can buy, sell, trade fractional shares of real estate. And we thought, oh, that'll be so simple. We'll just go out and we'll look at portfolios. We'll tokenize them. We'll offer people shares on our platform. We'll be like the NASDAQ of real estate. And then we realized, oh no, that's not how it works. There's regulations involved. It costs a ton of money to tokenize. And then we realized, okay, to get to that end goal we should look at where all of us started in real estate, which is really the debt side. And we looked at it and went, okay, so when we all tried to get involved, why did we start here? It's because the initial problems that were faced, we can solve now with technology. And that's kind of why we pivoted and we went, okay, if we start with the debt side, that's more of the educational piece. And like you mentioned, that's more of looking at completely the DeFi space, giving the user control, letting them educate themselves and then decide, oh, do I want to invest in this project fractionally, which is a debt investment where I can still make great returns, and they're more, they might be smaller, but it's short term, it's quicker, and it's still better than majority of investments out there. And so that's kind of where we landed on the pivot. And then even from there, initially we were looking at being a real estate company. We were looking at how can we really go out and essentially obtain property, tokenize it, hold it ourselves. And then we realized over time, there's more to it in the technology aspect. Some of our competitors are hung up and maybe really stalled because they got caught up in real estate and the complexities that come with it. And we realized we know enough about that and have dealt with that personally, that if we focus on technology as a solution, we're going to be much better off as a company. We're going to gain more traction. And I would say from there, we really, that's where we took off. And I don't know if Marshall, you would agree with that, but that's kind of how I look at it.
Yeah, no, definitely, for sure. I think, again, we saw the competition, we saw the regulations, and we were like, okay, how do we make this achievable? And I think, again, with Josh, and it was like, okay, how can we make this into a business and not just a crypto project with a token that's just taking off? It's like, how do we make this a business that'll last 5-10 years? And we got zero funding. How can we make this happen? And this was the route where it's like, we can start generating revenue. We can start bringing in users. We can start bringing in funds, and really get the ball rolling, and not really, wait around until we have $5 million and then we can start building everything. It's like, no, we're not waiting. We're going to go ahead and just start. So,
okay, let's break this down even more. So let's talk about your investors and let's talk about your consumers, and then we'll bridge those two together, because you really are targeting both sides of the transaction here.
Yeah.
Let's start with your consumer, the person who's going to take the funds, receive the funding. Who is your target audience there? How would they, go about obtaining, some financing from you?
Yeah, great question. Yeah, I think our target consumer, I would say, is obviously a real estate investor, someone who's doing fix and flip projects, fix and hold projects. But we wanted to take it to the next level and really, take advantage and leverage some of the social media influencers that are doing, real estate also, and they're educating people and they're educating their followers along the way. And the biggest holdback they have is, again, they can't get their unaccredited investors or their followers to invest with them, right? So it's like, okay, how do we provide a service to someone who is being transparent, blockchain, they're being transparent with their holdings, they're being transparent with their work, and they're making it like they're making money and they're educating people. How do we connect them and have their followers engage with them like never before, right?
Mhm.
So I think that was a big part of where we're looking at our consumers, and who's essentially going to get these funds. Reputable people that are willing to put their face out there and be like, hey, I'm the real estate expert. We're using their technology. I think that would be our consumer.
Yep.
So investors who need to do home improvements on their property. So we're not looking for a primary residence who wants to put in solar or a pool. We're looking for professionals who, have a short-term need, a desired output, a time frame, and have a pretty good idea of what dollar amount they need in order to accomplish their goal. So that's the target market right now. Let's talk about the flip side. Who's going to invest? Is it the people that are watching those? Those house flippers, if you talk to, Austin Flippers or the Buildsters or, those types of folks, are they going to reach out to their audience and say, hey, go to Pocket Properties. My project is listed there. You can invest there and take some of the, they don't get an equity piece, but they get a fair share, more than more than reasonable return on investment based on the, some short-term interest rates, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I would say that is the general idea. You hit the nail on the head there, is that.
Yeah, I kind of led you there, right? I was like, I kind of gave you the answer in the question, but go ahead.
No, but that's exactly it, and like I said before, is giving them that education piece to it, right? Like, one of the barriers in investing in real estate is everyone knows it's a good idea, but how do you find kind of that network and the people that you can trust and all of that? So if you can go to a place like Pocket Properties and you can look at somebody like Marshall, who has almost, 15 years of experience in real estate, and you can go, okay, this guy, here's his resume. Here's even his, in some cases, slide deck of what he is looking to do and the returns and his, how many deals he's done, everything. Now you can go, okay, I'm not just investing into this particular deal. I'm investing into Marshall. I believe in him. I believe in, what he's doing. It makes sense. Okay, here we go. And so to us, that's big. And we've seen that, that's the trend over the last 3 years that has been huge in the, that's completely shaken up how people invest and changed really a lot, which has been a lot of fun and will continue to change. And so we're just trying to take real estate and add to that what people already want, what they've shown they want. So
I think that's awesome. So market being what it is. There's a lot of competition for hard money lenders, fix and flips. There's a lot of folks out there that this is already being done. Why is it going to be better with this, decentralized sort of, pooling of resources and on blockchain? Why is that better?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is people want to get involved, and even some of the fund managers and people doing these fix and flips. When we've spoken to them, one thing they've consistently told us is, I might have a great relationship with my private lender, even the bank might offer me money, but if I can get, like mom and pops and, regular everyday people to invest with me and not be worried about them, losing money and actually give them a profit. And again, everyone's trying to leverage the social media aspect and, create income streams from there. It's like, why not use your followers, right? They might give you even a better and more competitive rate than a private money lender, but you're able to, again, engage with them. I think Web3 is a great, people throw that term around all the time, but it's, it's literally the evolution of, hey, I'm doing these projects. Do you want to come in? And even private lenders, they have a lot of, regulations and things. They're like, hey, give me this paperwork, give me that paperwork. And even their process, right? It's really repetitive. You go to a private lender, they're going to ask for the same documents over and over again, right? For the most part. So with transferring that and using technology, it's like, hey, I'm not worried about what project you're investing in. I believe in you, and I'm willing to, bet, like almost like a staking protocol of with a holding period. I'm willing to bet that you will give me great returns for this amount of time. And I think that's where, it really makes a big change, I would say.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I used to be a lender on some like peer-to-peer networks, like Prosper and Lending. Lending. No, I don't know if it was Lending Tree. There's a couple of others out there, and I would go in and they would like pre-underwrite the deals for me, and I would say, okay, I'll invest in this one at 14%. I might ask the owner, okay, what kind of project are you doing? I might go to this one and say, okay, it's 10%. Are you going to have the same kind of deal where the projects are up and it has like a predefined like 14% or 10%, or is there some kind of sliding scale depending on how much cash they get, or is there like a bidding mechanism where I'm bidding to give you the money, and I bid to give you it at 5%, but somebody else undercuts me and says I'll give it to you at 4.5% or something like that? What's the process work like there?
Yeah, I mean, I would say right now we're basically just using a grading algorithm where we're taking in very specific factors of how that specific person has done with their previous returns, or even if they're putting up a specific fund for a property. It's like, hey, what is how do you underwrite this specific property, and what kind of location is it? What kind of returns are you expecting? So we're basically using an algorithm to grade it. And what we want to do ideally is the more deals someone does with us, right, the better rate that they're getting. And they're able to just have, well, I'll say, cheaper access to capital, so they keep coming back, right? We definitely want to get to the point where we can have a bidding war, essentially, like, hey, I'll give you money for even cheaper, right? And that's definitely the next step. But take it one step at a time. Let's get people involved, and then we'll go from there, I guess.
Yeah. So is it a situation where people who borrow money, they're always wondering like, oh, what's your rate? So is there any kind of a competition there, or is the funds all getting kind of like pooled together? If I go to Pocket Properties and I say, hey, I'll give you guys $500 or $5,000 or whatever I got to state it, whatever the limit is there, is that getting pooled? Do I know where my money is going to, or does that happen behind the scenes and you guys are controlling that? So like, I'm not just going to roll up on a property and like inspect the workmanship of it, like there's some, there's a couple different ways to handle it.
Yeah. I would say it's Marshall, predefined, right? Like we have that before the deal. So the user investing going into the deal already knows there's predefined terms that we've already set with, the property owner or, the contractor, whatever we're doing. I don't know if that answers your question, or Marshall, you want to elaborate, but.
Yeah, I mean, I would say the only other thing is, if you're asking like when someone, is investing in a specific project, that's exactly what they're investing in, whether it's a fund type project. Right now we have a property on there, and it tells you what the borrower's intentions with that specific funds are, right? So the funds go directly into whatever you're selecting. It's not like, oh, you're just giving money to Pocket Properties, and then we're like, oh, an Austin property got, is up first, we'll give it to them. No, we really want to give the power to the people to decide where their money goes. Whether it's in a specific project or, like we mentioned, a specific fund or a person doing those flips.
That's what I was looking for. So I think that when, like, as a consumer, I think that we would feel better about investing and kind of knowing where that's going.
Right.
Sure.
So talk to us real quick about the blockchain. Like, how does the blockchain get incorporated into all of this? I know Algorand is awesome. I know it's fast. I know it's cheap. I know transactions per second. All that stuff is good. No forking. How does it get incorporated into Pocket Properties?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely have we have a timeline of how we're going to go. But I think where it starts off really is just the cap table management. How do we manage? And how do we see who actually has, whether it's a debt or equity deal, who has, parts in this, right? And again, even with the SEC, we have to have what's called a testing the water phase. So, we can start doing the reservations through NFTs, start even doing some of the KYC and AML through NFTs, where like we have specific people and we know they can invest because they already passed their KYC AML, right? But the biggest thing, honestly, is the cap table, right? On smaller deals, it can be relatively easy, but the bigger the fund gets, the more people that are involved, the more secondary transactions that are happening, that cap table can get really, really messy. It also can get super expensive to manage. And then at the end of the year, you got to do taxes. All right, cool. Go back and look at all those transactions and see what's going on, right? So the blockchain makes it where we can see everything, all of the transactions are there. The cap table is managed pretty much autonomously. And then when it comes down to tax time, it's like, all right, cool. This person gets this. Even in dividend payouts is super easy. No one can be like, hey, I didn't get my check. No, you actually did. The blockchain says the transaction went to your wallet, right? So those little key parts, I think, add efficiency. We were just looking at a fund, and they spent $15,000 just in printing expenses for a year.
Whoa.
Right, $15,000 just on expenses. So on our end, right, it's like, how do we make that easier? How do we make that access easier? How do we make the process just more efficient?
Transparent, compliant.
Yeah, exactly. Transparent and compliant. So it really goes beyond just, hey, we'll make a token and we'll have a Pocket Properties token. It's like, no, we're that's what we call ourselves, a blockchain company, and we haven't released a token. That we want to make sure we focus on the tech part, provide that as a solution, and then build out from there.
Really, the core concepts: smart contracts, just automation, everything Marshall just said. Just that's the where we're starting and focusing on.
Yeah.
Good. All right. Let me ask one more question, then Lauren, I'll let you wrap it up here. The timeline, the roadmap for you. At what point in time do you think it's really going to be easy for me as an Algorand user, blockchain user, to go visit your site and put in my either fiat or ALGO or whatever it is, and you have enough liquidity there where you can actually go out and say, okay, we've got these funds available. Let's start getting these projects in. Submit your projects, your submissions, and so when is that going to happen and where? Is this just going to be all over the U.S.? You guys are like in the south, or are you like East Coast, Southeast Coast, something like that?
Yeah.
Is it just going to be kind of regionally for you? You mentioned Austin earlier. You're gonna let us borrow some money here in Dallas. I mean, what do you have some guidelines there? What's how long do we got to wait, and how do we get this?
Oh man, loaded question. Yeah. I'll let Marshall take that one.
Yeah, no, definitely. So obviously, going with the blockchain integration, the biggest thing is dev work, not just to build out that integration, but also to maintain it long term, right? And that's kind of our biggest, I'll say, holdback right now is the funding. Josh and I, and even some of our co-founders, we've been going really heavy into the fundraising part of it. But that's the biggest thing. I think timeline-wise, we're looking at about 6 months to a year, where we expect that you'll be able to come in, connect your Algo wallet, look at and invest with, we'll start off with at least 3-4 cryptocurrencies, Algo obviously being the best, just because even the stablecoin transactions on Algo are so simple, right? So that's probably the timeline. And as far as regionality, we're actually not super concerned about the regionality of it because, again, we're not managing the properties. We want to leave that to the experts. So I know definitely Austin is going to be definitely the next one. But there's, Florida, Dallas,
Cincinnati, Ohio.
Yep. Even Vancouver, right? In California. So we're talking to other funds. We're not at the point where we can be like, hey, everyone come. But definitely.
Well, you mentioned Vancouver, so you guys are gonna be like international?
Yeah. Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
Yeah.
There in the works a little bit. So who knows? The possibilities are endless. And that's the beauty of technology, is that we are not locked into a certain area. We're looking for solutions, and those solutions cross boundaries, statewide, regionally, nationally, internationally, which is pretty cool. And that's kind of something we're focused on. So we'll start small and keep going. But even small to us is pinpoints on the U.S. and, like Marshall said, Canada. So
yeah.
All right. I love it. You heard it here first. International properties. All right. All right, Lauren, I dominated the conversation. I'm so sorry. I just got really excited. Blockchain and real estate together.
Yes, that's your thing. And like I said before we started recording, I don't really know that much about real estate or anything like that. So this was definitely a learning opportunity for me. And I guess, so my question to you guys, and I feel like you already kind of answered it a little bit, but where do you guys see Pocket Properties being in the next 5 years? So I already know, like you guys mentioned, you're wanting to expand out, but is there anything else that you'd like to kind of throw in there?
Oh man, again, that's a tough question because when we look at the future is, one of my big things, and I stress to the team, is like steps, right? Milestones. And so when we look at 5 years, that's something internally we talk about a lot, but the possibilities really for us, and I think Marshall would agree, are very open. So I never want to put a cap on it just because of what we're going
to happen.
Yeah, exactly. But what we're doing in real estate, and then that integration of blockchain, the crypto space, all of that is just so fresh, new. The possibilities of all the different segues we could go into are endless. And I know, Monty knows about that for sure. Just even in our short, talks that we've had, is just even the arms that he has in the game are extensive. So for us, we look at it the same way. As 5 years, who knows? But I would say that it's an exciting thing to think about. But we're definitely looking at all type of things: commercial, NFTs, layers, different layers. How deep can we go? Tokens, all of that. What kind of opportunities can we do? Institutional, retail, accredited, non-accredited, all of that, So
Sweet.
I don't know if that answers your question.
No, it does.
For a long time, we could spend another hour just on that.
Yeah.
Great. No, that answers it just fine.
I think that there's it's going to be very interesting to see what comes of not just like what you guys do, but the whole market that is just shifting. There's so much going on with blockchain, like blockchain, title work, NFTs. We're seeing properties, properties doing things where they're selling houses and they're NFTing them. We've got a couple crypto mortgages coming out. I'm involved in a bunch of like different fractional things that are going on, and there's so many different ways to do it. It's just really exciting. So
absolutely,
kudos to you guys for jumping in there, for choosing Algorand. Thanks for taking the time with us today. I'm sure you're going to get some extra followers. I hope people are going to start checking in on you and asking you, okay, when can I invest? When's this going to happen? But we'll put all of your links in the socials. And thanks everyone for watching today. It's been a fantastic honor to have you guys, and I can't wait for the next time.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much. It was a blast. A lot of fun.
All right. Until next time, everybody.